Okay, I'm supposed to save this microphone for some readings that I'm doing today, but guys, ever since my last two videos on gang stalking and my honest feelings about it, the gang stalkers are just not okay. They're not okay. Just, whew, they are not okay at all. First off, I'm noticing more clusters of people around wherever I'm walking. There are more clusters of people. So clearly the gang stalkers are on high alert. Um, Not mad at it. Not mad at it. So the gang stalkers are on high alert. And also, um, the mad and crazy thing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Cause I had to go to this seminar last night, right? And as I was taking a break from that seminar, I was on my way to the corner shop, and one gang stalker was walking past and said the word mad really loudly, like that was supposed to trigger me. It didn't. I just thought it was funny. And you know me, I'm very sensitive about ableism or anything to do with that. Like this time it was just funny to me. And then on top of that, this morning when I was waking up, so on top of the psyops in the street theater that I just mentioned, that was supposed to rattle me and it didn't. This morning I was in the middle of the dream, and I had V2K in my head, and the V2K used a familiar voice shouting at the top of their lungs during a dream that I was having during REM sleep. Fabian, who are you talking to? That was V2K, probably the loudest and the clearest that I've heard it. And it was using a familiar voice as well. Now, I don't like to talk about voice to skull because quite often it's weaponized way too much to say that targeted individuals have paranoid schizophrenia when paranoid schizophrenia doesn't fucking work like that. First of all, the way paranoid schizophrenia works is like there are constant voices in your head all the time. Your thoughts are incredibly loud. And then on top of that, you have like, it's just a never ending thing. You hear constant thoughts all the time. All of them are really fucking loud, and not all of them are necessarily yours. So not only do you have to deal with your own thoughts that are already loud already, you got to deal with other people's thoughts on top of that. I have never had that. That's not paranoid schizophrenia, right? But from time you say you have voice to skull or any of that stuff, it's immediately written off as paranoid schizophrenic. That's why I don't normally talk about voice to skull, but I get it a lot. It's just that if I can't prove that voice to skull is happening, then what I just rather do is just ignore it, or just like hear what they're saying and then not react, so that I can understand the pattern of what the V2K is like. So this particular case, there was this real attempt to rattle me, and it woke me up. Fabian, who are you talking to? And it was in reference to the fact that I vocalize my thoughts a lot. Now, I never used to vocalize my thoughts as much as I do now. Now it's a lot less than I used to do, when I was back in London, but it's a lot more than I've ever done in Brighton, if that makes sense. So now I'm in the process of unmasking because I'm in a familiar environment now. So now, with me vocalizing out loud, it's a couple of different things. First, I don't have that many people to talk to. It is what it is. Second of all, I'm kind of unmasking now. My neurospicy stuff is really coming out, right? And my mentally ill stuff is coming out. So they're coming out in full force, and that's what that is. That's why there's a lot of talking. So that voice to skull saying, who are you talking to? That was meant to rattle me. That's another phrase that's been used to rattle me sporadically throughout the years. Because again, gang stalkers like to use whatever is going on with you to weaponize it against you, to humiliate you. So that's what that was about. And that's when I started realizing these gang stalkers are just not okay at all. And, another gang stalker was out there today saying that, they're scared for their lives because I was being vulnerable on a voice note about how I felt that I was using the enemies of my life as avatars to be able to survive. So like in my head, I would hate them and I would despise them. But then in real life, I would kind of fawn over them. Not all my enemies, like just the ones that seem to be stronger than me. I just fawn over the people that I completely despise. Like in my head, I despise them. I might even want them dead. But in real life, I might like fawn or like be polite with them because I haven't worked out a way to hurt them in the same way they've hurt me yet. So I haven't figured that out yet. So I fawn and do all that stuff. And I was being vulnerable about that. And I was being vulnerable about that in a voice note about how I hate that. And how I, don't like myself for that. And I don't like myself for the fact that if I'm going to destroy my enemies, it has to be like indirect. It can't ever be a direct thing. Like I'm just being really open and honest about that. And then one of my gang stalkers was basically outside on the phone. I don't know who they were talking to, basically saying that they're scared for their lives and all the rest of it. This is after I explicitly said, you are too worthless to kill. This is specifically after I said to my gang stalkers through a video yesterday that they are too worthless to kill. And it's true. And I'm not just saying that for the sake of it, but yeah. When you combine all of these things together, they're small examples, but they are examples of how gang stalkers are not okay at all after what was said yesterday. Because now they're starting to understand Fabienne wasn't crazy. She wasn't making any of this up. She wasn't lying. Everything that happened with gang stalking has led to fascism right now. And the same tactics that have been used in gang stalking are used with fascism. So everybody within the program that knows me, that have been my perps, that have been my gang stalkers, are starting to realize that not only is all this shit real, but all the feelings that I espoused, on my Marsha the Two Great channel, I had every right to feel. So now they're having to reconcile with that. And now they want to try to use that as another excuse to say that they're scared for their lives from me. And I'm thinking, you still don't fucking get it, do you? This is you playing victim in order for you to pile on a target that you still think is an easier target. Do you understand? This is you attempting to pile on an enemy that you know is isolated. Because you know damn well, out of everybody that you could possibly be scared of, you're scared of one person. You're scared of one person. There are whole fucking defense companies. There are whole government and private intelligence agencies invested in this gang stalking. And I'm the one you fear for your life from? Me? I'm not the one who walked you into fascism. I'm not the one who endangered children with this shit. I'm not the one who tore apart communities through gang stalking. I'm not the one engaging in displacement. I'm not the one doing any of that. You're afraid of me to the point where you're going to rally and recruit other Nazis to come at me. Really? That's how you know the gang stalkers are full of shit. They're full of shit. Because why are you scared of me? Why the fuck are you scared of me and you're not scared of your bosses? Why are you scared of me and not the people who hired you? They want to depopulate, remember? After they're done with us, who do you think they're going to move on to next? There's more of you than there are of TIs. Way more. Way more. You are fucked in ways that you can't even possibly imagine. If you ever come after me, and if you ever try to paint me as somebody who's going to blow the whole world up, it's not going to be because you're afraid of me. It's because you feel like shit and you deserve to. It's because you feel like shit. You can't stand the fact that you're in the wrong. You can't stand what you've brought into this world. And you can't stand the truth of who you are. It has nothing to do with you being afraid of me. I can talk all the scary shit I want. I'm not the fascist here. I'm not the Nazi. I'm not the one who tore apart whole communities for ego. That is not me. That's you. Better yet, there are bigger monsters than you that you got to worry about. And to my black perps, you got bigger monsters than me to worry about. The monsters that you got to worry about are racist, xenophobic, misogynist, queerphobic. To all my marginalized perps, you got bigger problems than me to worry about, and you put your own selves in that situation. You brought that on yourselves. To any white perps or white, like, you really think that these white supremacists at the top are going to be loyal to you? When the time comes to eradicate undesirables, you're going to be among that number. Rest assured. Of all the people that they want to carry their white supremacy forward, do you really think they want a bunch of uneducated hicks with no fucking back? You really think they want a bunch of uneducated hicks who don't really believe what they're saying? You're going to be the first to fucking go. In fact, they've been sacrificing you. They've been sacrificing you. These white supremacists have been trafficking and killing you off. You're too fucking stupid to notice. There are bigger monsters than me for you to worry about, and you know damn well that's why you're trying to rally everyone together for your protection. You know damn well it ain't got shit to do with me. And for the gang stalkers, you know, the gang stalkers behind the gang stalkers who are really trying to make this meal out of that, like, my mental health stuff. I'm thinking, you've committed genocide. You have spent hundreds of thousands of pounds per targeted individual to be able to do so. And it's resulted in people being murdered and brutalized and fucking kidnapped, displaced, all that awful stuff. And that's just to the people. You've just done that to the people who know they're targeted individuals. That's just to the people that know their TIs. Let alone what you've done to God knows how many other people across this country. You are committing whole genocide right now on whole human rights abuses, and your response is, yeah, well, you talk to yourself. You're not okay. Not that you deserve to be okay, but you are not. You are spiraling. That shit is sad. You're spiraling bad, man. But then again, you won. So I don't understand what the spiraling is about. The whole purpose of this gang stalking was to bring fascism. It's brought. The fuck you whining about? And the only power you have is to use this fascism to silence me. But even then, it's not going to work. It's just going to make the situation even worse than it already is. There is no way you're going to fuck with somebody for 4 to 5 years. In fact, all gang stalkers, you're not like my gang stalkers back home, my dad's neighbors, right? They've been fucking with me for the best part of a decade. More than a decade would change. You're not going to fuck with somebody for that long. You're not going to gang stalk somebody for decades that you are afraid of. Not unless you're trying to engineer situations that you can get in front of and control the narrative of. In fact, that is your whole MO behind trying to control other people's behavior, because you want to control the narrative of not only who you are as people, but who the TIs are as people. You want to use them for your little image setup. You want to use them for your little image. That's what this is about. When I say I feel like, I can say that until the cows come home. If I'm not actually doing it, if I'm not actually fucking doing it, then the only thing that you've got left is you using that as an excuse to kill me first because you don't want to look bad. That's the only option you have. Because you're too chicken shit to go after the defense companies. You're too chicken shit to go after your government. You're too chicken shit to put down the xenophobia, put down the ableism, put down the racism, put down the sexism, put down the homophobia. You're too chicken shit to put down any of that. You're too chicken shit. Of course you're going to come after me. Of course you're going to come after me. You're too chicken shit. Of course you were never going to solve the fascism problem. You were never going to do that because it was only ever about your own ego. And as for the people behind the Voice the Skull, again, they're spiraling bad. They're spiraling bad. Listen, man. They're spiraling bad. It's bad. It's bad. They're really spiraling out here. You know what I mean? Yeah. You brought this on yourselves. I don't know what to tell you. You brought this on yourselves. Like you can't fucking look at me because I was the one who told you what was going to happen. Like it's your fault you don't listen. All of this is your fault. Killing me isn't going to solve that. It's not going to help you. You can try. Like I can't, if you are going to try and kill me first because you think I'm going to kill you, I can't stop you. But it's not going to help your situation. You are what you are and it's not going to change anything. It's not even going to buy you time. Because again, I'm valuable. You're not. Even as a targeted individual, there are other targeted individuals out there. But I'm pretty sure that intelligence services have not seen a case like mine before. I'm pretty sure they haven't. I'm worth money. Think about the amount of people that have had to be paid for those psyops. There are a good amount of people that have had to be paid with contraband H&M customs stuff that have been like stuff that have been confiscated from H&M customs have had to be used. Coupons worth hundreds of pounds have had to be used. Money has had to be used. Financial deals have had to be struck. Like all of that is hundreds of thousands of pounds per TI. And I used to say that these programs wanted us homeless. No. There's a difference between wanting us homeless and wanting us displaced. They want us displaced. They want to control where we go. And they want to make sure that wherever we go, we have the least control. They don't want us homeless. They don't want us homeless. Because if we're homeless and we keep moving, then the defense weapons have to keep moving. Then the defense weapons torture has to keep moving. There was this one targeted individual who has a home, but the torture at her home is so fucking bad. She's pitching up a tent and sleeping outside as often as she can in the cold, and she has a home. That's how bad the fucking electronic torture is. Yeah, that's how fucking bad it is. She's pitching up tents and finding ways to like sleep on the beach, sleep in a park somewhere, like anywhere other than her own home because of how bad the torture is. They do not want targeted individuals homeless at all. Because from time targeted individuals are homeless and they have to keep moving, then the weapons have to keep moving. They don't want that. It's not cost effective. So what have they done to this woman? I'll tell you what they did to this woman. They had her beaten up to dissuade her from sleeping outside. So because she refuses to stay in her house, they've had her attacked for sleeping outside. That's what the fuck they did to her. Why do you think I'm about to defend myself if worse comes to worst? And she's not the only homeless TI that they've beaten up and fucking tried to dissuade from being out on the street. Sure, they want us to be without an address long enough to be grateful for what we're given. That's what they do want. But they do not want us without a roof over our heads. Because again, it messes with the effectiveness of the weapons. They don't want us homeless. We're that valuable to the experimentation of electronic weapons that they don't want us homeless. Listen, they hire homeless perps. They don't give a fuck about the perps. They don't give a fuck where they live. They will get homeless perps a new haircut. And that's it. They will not spend any more money on vulnerable perps than they need to. Vulnerable TIs are another matter though. They will not spend that money on perps and they need to. They will spend that money on us because we are the test subjects. We're the main test subjects of not only electronic weapons, but of behavioral control, psychological warfare. We are the ones. The more useless a person is in terms of data, in terms of intelligence, in terms of like physical attributes, the more useless a person is the more likely they are to be privileged or a perp. That's the reality. The higher echelons are filled with usually the most useless or antisocial people. And remember what people say about most species of animal, right? It's the one with one specific skill that usually ends up being extinct. So when I say useless, I'm not necessarily talking about being dumb or not knowing things. You can be extremely intelligent, good at one particular thing, and that will make you less useful than somebody like me who studies a wide range of different things. The more useless you are, the more privileged you're likely to be. And that's the fucking truth. But the global south is where the wealth is at. TIs are where the wealth is at. It's not with the perps. You can and you will be replaced. You can and you will be replaced. TIs can be replaced too. TIs have been murdered. But death was never the end goal, especially not quick death. TIs, the truth of the matter is, a lot of TIs out there are worth a lot more than money. Why do you think so much is being extracted from us? So when I say that perps are too worthless to kill, I'm not just saying that for effect. It's the fucking truth. Everything that was done to TIs has laid the foundation for defense systems going up, for Israel versus Palestine, for the Sudanese ethnic cleansing going on, for the fucking Rwandan ethnic cleansing going on a few decades before. Gang stalking has facilitated all of that. We are where the money is, not you. You can and you will be replaced. There's always some fucker some desperate fucker, some egotistical fucker, some narcissistic fucker, some fucker with no emotional self-control who will take this job at a pinch. So like I said before, as much as deeply as I feel, as deeply violent as I feel, actually killing any perp would not only be, it wouldn't even be penny wise. It would just be fucking stupid. It'd just be stupid and not worth it. Because for every one of you that's killed, 10 spring up in your place. You are easily replaced. But you come after me before the time, it affects your money and your safety. It speeds along the process of depopulation. When I said you ain't worth shit, I was not talking out my ass. I wasn't saying it to say it. It is the fucking truth. This fat C word, this crying N word, this mad N word is worth more from her fucking pinky fingernail than you are in your entire body. She is worth more from her pinky fingernail than you are of her entire body. Your entire body has less worth than this. Please believe that. You can and you will be replaced. Who am I talking to? Exactly. Because I'm not talking to myself. When I say that shit, you know exactly who I'm talking to because you're watching this right now. You are worth less than nothing. Add it up. Add it all up. You're worth less than nothing. But when things get hard, that's when the witch hunts happen, isn't it? When people get desperate, when there's no real food or, no real health care, that's when the witch hunts start, right? I'm not surprised at this. This person that was so disrespected throughout her life, she turned out to be 1,000 times worth more than every single person who ever disrespected her. I thought I had to be rich, white, male, because this world had me thinking that the privileged people in the world were the most useful, and that's not the case at all. Now I understand. Now I get it. Now I get it. It was never about, there's racism and misogyny and all that type of stuff. All of that is in place, but it was never about what I was. It was never what I was that was holding me back. It was me holding me back. And even now I say that as somebody who's being gang stalked. It was always me holding me back, and it was always what I thought of myself and my hero worship of my enemies that was holding me back. That's where the lack of self-respect comes from. Fawning to your enemies to survive. Fuck that noise. I was here I was sitting here worshipping lead when this gold was right here. That's my own fault. No more though. No more though. I'm not going to continue to fucking manage my words and fucking censor myself and all the rest of it because fucking piece of shit fascists and Nazis want to feel good about themselves. I'm not going to continue to do it. Because it doesn't matter what I do, you're going to find ways to hurt me anyway. That's the nature of the fucking crime. Know what I mean? One of the perps is kicking off right now. I don't know what they're saying. I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't give a single fuck. They can watch the whole video and then they can tell me what they think then. And even then, they're probably going to spiral into nothing like usual. But everything that I'm saying is the truth. I've been validated. You know what I hate though? I hate that so many people had. I hate that so many people had to die for me to be right. I hate that. I hate that so many horrific things happen to so many people for me to be right. I hate the pain that other people had to go through for me to be right. If I was wrong, I would have been just a mentally ill girl. I would have had people who were supporting me and helping me. And I wouldn't have had to be alone to find some sort of healthiness. I wouldn't have to find that by myself. What do I get out of all of this being right? Is that what I get? That's it? What about everyone else? What about the homeless? The homeless people are increasing around here. What about them? Me, I'm not worried about. But what about them? What about the people that are going to increasingly find themselves targeted by Nazi scum? So I'm right, so what? How does that help everyone else? Especially if they don't listen. The only comfort I can get is from these gang stalkers spiraling and crashing the fuck out and realizing that even if they choose not to crash out and choose not to spiral and choose not to empathize and choose not to feel guilty or feel stupid, they're still fascist Nazi scum that made choices to be terrible people. The only comfort I can get is that the gang stalkers can never escape from themselves. They can't now. They can't now. Doesn't matter what they do. They can't escape from themselves. And that's the only comfort I can get from this. After all the shit that they've put me through and everything that about me that they've weaponized against me, now that shit is coming back home to roost and they can't escape that shit. That's the only comfort I can get from this. But they're not dying first. They're not even worth killing. So the satisfaction I can get from their misery can only be so much. Anyway, I gotta go. I gotta eat something. I'm supposed to do 3 other readings today. I don't know if I'm gonna do them. I don't want to put them off, but I'll see how I feel anyway. Marsha the Great out. To my fellow perps, yeah. You're in for a rough road. A rough fucking road. And it's not me that's the problem. It's not TIs that's the problem. It's you and the people who hired you. And for my fellow TIs, they're going to come after you hard, man. They don't like themselves and they're going to make it your problem. Prepare as much as you can. I love you. Peace and blessings. Bye-bye.